The Big Ten title defense begins on a gorgeous Sunday afternoon in New Jersey. Rutgers women's soccer, the Big Ten champs last year, and they start off conference play this year with a thrilling top 25 battle with 21st ranked Ohio State. We welcome you to your Sack Field in Piscataway, New Jersey. With Glenn Crooks, I'm Dom Savino. It is great to be with you. 80 degrees, breezy, and a nice day to play. Nice day for a ranked battle between two of the nation's best. Let's take a look at the lineups first. And for Rutgers, this is the Big Ten's most productive offense, and of course it starts with the talented three up top.
Yeah, when you have your front three producing to the level that Kroger, Lowry, and Tiernan are. Kroger leading the Big Ten with 14 points, 12 goals between them. That really takes the pressure off. When you're a front runner, you have two obligations to your team. One is on the defensive side. You're very important defenders. That's the way head coach Mike O'Neill has it set up. But you also have to put the ball in the back of the net. Thus far, that's happened consistently.
And Rutgers paced by Sam Kroger, Big Ten leader in points. Meanwhile, Ohio State, a veteran group, 8 seniors. One of them is the goalkeeper who makes the start for just the first half, the grad transfer, Kat Robinson.
Right, and she'll share time with Molly Pritchard, the freshman out of the Atlanta Fire Club in Atlanta. And it's interesting as to Lori Walker, the head coach, a former goalkeeper, a 4-time national champion at the University of North Carolina, fantastic at that position. She warms her keepers up before the game. Not many head coaches do that, and she has not yet determined if one should have the lead over the other, and it's great for the freshman Pritchard to get that sort of experience.
So a ranked battle, teams in the top 25, but how have they gotten this far? Well, Rutgers went through Big Ten play 10-0 last year, and the Scarlet Knights just finished non-conference play perfect as well. They've been tested as of late, though, Glenn.
Well, the last match against LSU, interesting, down 2-0. LSU, the best team over the first 10 minutes, putting some pressure on Rutgers. I think some of that pressure came from technical breakdowns by the Scarlet Knights, who eventually found their way, 3 unanswered goals, and a 3-2 win. And it sort of reminds you of what happened last night. It can happen at any level, in any conference, with any program. UNC was up on Virginia 2-0 at the half. Virginia coming back to win the match 3-2.
With two teams with talented offensive players, no lead is safe today. Meanwhile, Ohio State 5-1-1 right now, coming off a couple of wins. Most recently, Kent State, a 4-game unbeaten streak for them.
A tradition of excellence under Lori Walker-Hawk here at Ohio State, and they generally play in the same manner. And one of the reasons they put almost every team to the test is their wing play. And we'll look at that closely tonight. There's a great mentality, and they will press Rutgers perhaps more than any other opponent RU has faced this season. Should be a good one.
Ohio State playing its 4th-ranked team in the season. For Rutgers, this is its first ranked battle. Can the Knights continue their dominance in the Big Ten? We will see as we get underway here in Jersey. Rutgers in the scarlet kits, and Ohio State comes out with the white unis. And it is the Buckeyes with the early possession, but one of the outside backs making her first start of the season, Emma Meisel. Good to see her back in the lineup after dealing with injury. She plays it out there.
She had a tough injury, especially in a collegiate season that is so short. Hamstring. You can see her left leg is wrapped, and it's one of those lingering kind of injuries that if you don't wait for it to heal at least close to 100%, it'll aggravate, and then it'll set you back another couple of weeks. But she has been deemed ready to be in the 11, and that's good news for Rutgers.
This is an Ohio State attack that has not scored the lights out, averaging about 1.5 goals per game, which is 8th in the Big Ten. But I have to mention some of the players up top. Emma Sears and Peyton McNamara are the 2 most productive players this year. Sears playing the 9 and McNamara either the 9 or the 10. You'll see them right in the middle of the pitch. Early possession here. This is Ella Gianola, one of the freshmen making a start on this veteran team, but Rutgers forces it off her foot. Scarlet Knights will have a throw-in.
And you see Kayla Fisher very close to the play, trailing, and was able to put pressure immediately on Allison Lynch, who was a little bit slow perhaps in her departure of getting the ball up the field. Rutgers did get the throw in. They'll get another here.
Fisher, number 2 in the white kit. If you follow this Ohio State team, she's one of the names you will know. Among the all-time leaders in scoring in all the offensive categories. But a takeaway in midfield by Sarah Brocious, looking forward for Allison Lowry, and she finds it. And now Lowry looking for some support. Well defended, though, by Ohio State. That's Talani Barnett, one of the center backs, a super senior who got back defensively.
But Rutgers forcing a turnover in the middle of the park, and that's what led to the game-winning goal against LSU last weekend. And Rutgers has had a full week to prepare to diagnose where they need to press Ohio State. Ohio State really defended that counter well.
Yeah, for both teams, that's got to be the focal point, right? And not only the LSU match for Rutgers, but over the first 15 minutes of Rutgers' last 2 matches, RU's been outscored 3-0. So some slow starts, but a chance here perhaps. Riley Tiernan with it. Putting it across the top of the box for Daigle. And now looking for Sarah Brocious. There is Sam Kroger, who has been electric offensively. 6 goals, 14 points. That last number leads the Big Ten. Tiernan was onside there, but couldn't reel it in.
Well, that's a tough ball from Fleuchel at that angle to put proper weight on that, so it was difficult. But Kroger, as that ball skipped through and she had it on her right peg, and Riley Tiernan had drifted towards the back post, and she was lifting her right arm and waving a little bit. And after Kroger just played it the back of square on the deck, she looked over and kind of waved towards Riley Tiernan and said, I saw you. I don't think she felt confident that she could reach her on that.
And Rutgers plays it all the way back to Megan McClelland. A couple of veterans in goal. We talked about Kat Robinson. McClelland now a 5th-year senior, 5th-year starter. As this goes over the top, Tiernan looking, but Robinson there first for the clearance.
Rutgers looking early to get behind. Ohio State playing a very high line. That means the goalkeeper, in this case Catherine Robinson, needs to be very alert, high off her line to cut off any of these balls played through.
At the top of the box, Lowry couldn't link up with Sarah Brocious. And Kroger will reset. Kroger, she's a danger from distance. The flag goes up, wow. Brocious caught trying to backtrack. Now the Buckeyes spring the counter. Emma Sears trying to center, and Emily Mason, one of the veterans of the U20 national team, plays it away. Now, talented players on both teams, players with international experience on both sides as well. It's sort of par for the course with the top 25 battle. Well won by Daigle as she walls off Kina Flotra. And Rutgers again trying to spring something. Brocious in for Lowry and onside. Allison Lowry with a chance, and Rutgers goes up 1-0. Perfectly weighted from Sarah Brocious, and Lowry benefits with her 6th goal of the season.
Really well-weighted pass, measured into Lowry from Brocious, but it was Lowry who made this happen. See, as Brocious is dribbling towards the back 4, Lowry peels out to her left and then sits herself between the 2 defenders. That enabled Brocious to put it on the deck to her front foot, guides it towards goal, and Lowry will rarely miss when she's in that position one-on-one with the keeper.
Lowry last year was one of Rutgers' super subs, but her first season as a starter, and she has flourished. That is just the latest example.
Now, I'm not sure. Our production crew, they are fantastic, and our director, if they could bring that replay back a little bit further, we're getting another good look at it. See, between the defenders, playing the left foot, that's the front foot, and that enabled Lowry to just kind of walk in on goal. But if you get it where Brocious started with the ball, you'll see how Lowry just bends herself out to the left. If she kind of hung in that space or maybe went the other way to the right, it wouldn't have created the sort of space that Lowry needed to receive for Brocious and get that goal. Wonderful stuff.
Ohio State looking for a quick answer. It's not a bad cross by Fisher, but a little too tall on the back post.
Well, whenever you have a player on your team at any level that can deliver from the left side with a very solid driven service like that, with a little curl, Fisher trying to find players at the back post. But that is certainly something. The wingers again, Ohio State, it's Fisher on the left, that Rutgers has to be very conscious of. Deny service, because you got a little bit of a picture there of what Fisher can do on the delivery.
We were just talking about how Emma Meisel is returning from injury, and she's coming off the pitch now 6 minutes in, and you can see the nose pinched there. So she comes off. Adriana Kurla will enter for her. Didn't see what happened, but looked like on the cross from Fisher, she got contacted right in the nose.
Well, at least it wasn't the hamstring. And that's
one thing worth mentioning, too, if Meisel's able to stop what appears to be a bloody nose, she can re-enter as an injury swap out here in the middle of this opening half, but that remains to be seen. Well, for this Rutgers team, we were just talking about their slow starts over their last couple of non-conference games. That is a great way, that Lowry goal, to change the script on that.
No question, 3 times this year Rutgers has been down a goal and has been forced to come back and get the victory, which they did in all 3 cases. And, you know, that kind of adds to a team's mystique and effectiveness, you know, working through that sort of adversity. But much more pleasurable and comfortable to have the lead rather than have to always come back.
Fisher, again, dangerous ball, back post, and McClellan knocks it down.
That's the sort of service that needs to be denied by Rutgers. So you have Allison Lynch going one-on-one with Fisher. And I know Rutgers has discussed possibly a second defender in that area to prevent the wingers from providing that sort of technique.
Now the chance came from Emma Sears, who has been dynamite this year, and there she is trying to play it in, but it'll go out for a goal kick. Another vantage point of a chance there for
Well,
Sears.
that was something that could have easily gotten a little touch on the ball as it went across. But you can see how difficult that is to defend with the pace and the bend. Much easier for the players coming in on goal than the ones who have their back to the play or might, and you always try to prevent this, be facing your own goal when defending.
Missed header there, but Ohio State's back line will sweep it up. It's Olivia Sensky back there. On Rutgers' back line, too, Emma Meisel just re-entered, so stopped what appeared to be the bloody nose, and she's back in, and Kurla exits.
Well done, trainer, Michelle Anton.
Robinson curling it out wide, and Ohio State will start the push offensively. Now, Robinson has played really well in her time. I did concede the goal, but coming into play today, a .5 goal against average. 3rd best in the Big Ten. Solid connection. Here's Peyton McNamara. And again, Fisher, that time couldn't bend it.
She had the space, and you could see she grabbed her head with both hands. She wasn't happy with herself in the delivery, and there's Fisher. But she had the angle on Lynch to bend in another one. And what Allison Lynch needs to attempt to do is get around her and force her to the right peg. And then it becomes maybe a little less precarious for Rutgers with a right-footed service or a drive with the right.
There's Kylie Daigle, first touch for her, sophomore who has been sensational, really. Trying to play it over the top for Tiernan. Classmate tracks down the ball. Tiernan to the left foot. Playing it through for Kroger. One extra touch. Now Kroger was offside anyway.
Now, interesting on the Ohio State side with Riley Tiernan one-on-one with LaFleur. They elect not to bring a second defender over. The Barnett, the center back, you see she stayed away, and she was caught in a little bit of no man's land when Tiernan got past the first defender and started moving towards goal. Kroger off, but Ohio State will maybe have to consider that. It's very rare these days that Tiernan is left to her 1v1 favors.
And Riley Tiernan this year, 6 assists, just 1 goal. This is somebody last year who was among the Big Ten scoring leaders. So she's had to adjust her game a little bit as defenses hone in on her more. It's interesting, even anecdotally in some of the conversations we've had so far this year with opposing coaches, when you ask about how they'll handle Rutgers offense, Tiernan has been the first name to come up in most instances. But now it's Ohio State's offense, and once again it's Fisher with it at her feet. Good ball in. And this time, Banks did just enough to interrupt that. It bumped Kaylin Dudukovic, a top freshman last year, off the ball.
Dudukovic was posting at the edge of the 6-yard box. You don't often see a striker being able to drop that deep and get in. And Fisher hit it on her feet. It was defended well. She was trying to turn and get a shot off.
Ohio State has had the better run of play over the last few minutes. But now Rutgers claims it. Tiernan mentioning that she draws 2 defenders, trying to split them. Looking for some help, and Lowry just can't get squared around.
Lowry initially made a run and put her in an offside position, so she was trying to bring herself back on side, and that's why that looked a little awkward. But there you see Riley Tiernan, why sometimes she becomes the first one mentioned when there's opposition analysis involved. And Ohio State, that time, they dropped down to try to double her, but then she beat 2 players off the dribble, forced the center back towards her. Once that center back comes, there should be some space to slip it through.
Well won by Dudukovic coming back to win possession. And now Fisher more central. And McClellan is there for that cross. Kayla Fisher, the super senior, she's been very active so far.
And she hit a delicate ball there, but you can see she prefers to have it on her left than her right. And then back on the Ohio State back line, it's the number 4 Barnett. She's the one that's going to have to decide whether to come and help with Tiernan or stay central.
Daigle trying to lift it over the top. And LaFleur tracks it down, but just plays it out for a corner.
Well, let's just say the fact that Tiernan has put a lot of pressure on LaFleur early on, even though Tiernan was not within 5 or 6 yards of her, kind of forced that error by LaFleur, and it results in a Rutgers corner kick. So sometimes the pressure is perceived rather than reality, and that's why you have to constantly be scanning. LaFleur had more time to deal with it.
So first set piece of the afternoon, a 6-minute goal for Allison Lowry's put Rutgers on the board already. And now Kylie Daigle on the corner. It's headed forward by Lowry, but quickly blocked away. And now Lowry steering it in, but there were no Scarlet Knights in the area. Ohio State, it appears, has settled into the match. And one thing worth mentioning, too, with the Buckeyes down early, this is a team that has been tested. They've got veterans, 8 seniors. They're also perfect on the road. And they've played some pretty good competition so far. BYU, Texas A&M got a win at Brown earlier this month. So a team that should not be phased, even against a top club like Rutgers. Should not be super phased by an early deficit.
Well, the Texas A&M draw 0-0, that was played in Columbus. A&M is a very difficult spot to go to. The Brown match on the road, that is a good win. Brown has elevated their play in the Ivy League over recent years.
Especially this year, too, with the end of overtime in regular season. There's going to be that much more value placed on a win, especially, of course, on the road. How much more weight a win will get compared to a tie, we'll find out in November. But certainly worth considering as we get into Big Ten play now and teams start to build out their resumes. Now Fisher wins possession. Tiernan gets back on her feet, and now Kroger knocks Fisher off the ball. Hard tackles, but clean tackles from both sides.
Fisher had no idea that Sam Kroger had dropped in from her left wing position to defend on the right side of the pitch. What a back tackle, but Rutgers turning it over again.
Again, the wing play continues for Ohio State. That was Sears out there trying to bend one in. Something you touched on right at the top of the broadcast, Glenn. Ohio State likes to emphasize wing play, and we've seen that so far.
1v1 mentality to try to get to the end line, but also if the service is not denied, they'll put a lot of balls into the area. That's difficult to deal with on a consistent basis. That's why it's a good idea to get a second defender over, and Rutgers will generally, unless they feel like their fullback has the winger in their back pocket, they'll provide that cover, especially to prevent those two things, byline and service.
Mason. Tiernan had to wait on it. Now tracks it down. And again, it's swept out for a corner.
Well, if you can't get around the edge or cut it back and make a run in behind the fullback, drawing the corner to the next best thing. Rutgers has been quite dangerous on corner kicks this season.
Rutgers makes an early swap as Kylie Daigle comes off and Gianna Romano enters. We've seen Romano fill in at outside back, out of position, when Emma Meisel was injured early in the season. So interesting to see if Romano gets to play her more natural sort of attacking midfield spot. It's Kroger on the corner. Top of the six, headed by Mason, but wide.
That is a free header, and that has to be on frame. And Emily Mason knows it. Easier said than done at times. That ball's traveling. That one was about 35, 40 yards in the air. You got to judge it. And headed it down with good velocity, making it difficult for the keeper if it was on goal. So the right technique, just not precise enough.
Great spin to win possession here by Gianola. And now Fisher. Tiernan backtracking, pawing at the ball. And now service stopped. That's Lynch there. Physical between Lynch and Fisher. Those are two veterans going at it.
So, how many players were around Fisher on that? Two. It was Riley Tiernan and Allison Lynch. Sometimes it might be the holding midfielder, Becky Fluchel with Lynch. Sometimes it might be the center back, Emily Mason, sagging over to help Lynch out. No service, Rutgers gets it back. But Ohio State doing very well in recoveries.
First sub two for Ohio State. She's right there on the ball. Kitty Jones-Black. She entered for Nina LaFleur on the outside, and we'd mentioned LaFleur's name a few times. The sophomore seemed to have her hands full with Tiernan.
Well, that would make it clear why perhaps that substitution was necessitated for Laurie Walker-Hawk.
All the way to the back line here for Barnett. Coming up on the 20-minute mark of this match. Big Ten opener for 4th-ranked Rutgers and 21st-ranked Ohio State. Both teams are looking for what would be their best result of this season. And Rutgers with a win not only would extend the best start in the nation this year, but would set the record for the most consecutive wins to start a season. Now the record is what Rutgers is tied right now, 8-0, set by the 2015 College Cup team, the first one in this program's history.
Jones Black, who came in for LaFleur. It's a redshirt sophomore, LaFleur, and a senior from Hawaii. Imagine being able to coach that club team, the Hawaii Rush, Dom, huh?
It's an appropriate name.
Well, the Rush clubs are all over the country, including here in New Jersey. But a learning moment for LaFleur. And one of the things I noticed is her starting position against Tiernan, as that one's played through. The keeper will be able to come out and pick it off with her feet. But the starting position sometimes was a little ahead of her center backs. And Tiernan noticed that and got in behind her on at least 2 occasions just because of that positioning. So part of it is a discussion with the staff.
And the flag is up here, trying to play for Sears.
Man, those chicken fingers look good. Somebody just brought up some food. It's in the bleacher section below us here.
Another good turnout, too, here at your sack. Folks enjoying some of the final days of summer. And pretty soon these matches are going to be 50 degrees and brisk. You're talking about club soccer teams, though. See several of them, as we often do, but especially for this Sunday afternoon, top 25 teams. This will draw the young soccer players. I get to see a bunch of them in the stands. Rutgers has been forced to the back line a couple of times here. Now they'll try to push forward with Fluchel. Still Tiernan over there on the near sideline, but Jones Black is all over it. Meisel wins it. Good first touch for Brocious, but leads Lowry a little bit too far.
Certainly overhit by Brocious. And the way you measure these things, if you're going to hit it with that kind of pace, that close to goal, it's got to be into a player's feet. If you have a little bit more space, you can hit a weighted ball. And just let it roll into the feet of the player. As where you're targeting a spot rather than the player's feet.
Here's a takeaway. Brocious couldn't reel it in. Romano had the first chance. And Brocious trying to win possession. She does.
Well, that's an example. Romano playing a firm ball on the deck right into the feet of Sarah Brocious. First touch got away from her a little bit. It was also defended well by Ohio State. Rutgers with a throw-in deep in OSU territory.
2 subs, by the way, for the Buckeyes. Emily Votney and Maddie Lowe, 2 of the team's captains. Peyton McNamara and Kaylin Dudukovic come off. And the Buckeyes handle that deep throw-in pretty easily, it seemed.
They handled the throw-in by winning it, and then there's immediate pressure by Rutgers because there were so many players in the area, and then they solved that, and that helped them change the point. This will help Rutgers prevent the counter, the foul on Becky Fluchel.
And Maddie Lowe a little late on the challenge. There's Mason. And for Kroger, who has come back into more of a midfield role now after some of the early Rutgers substitutions.
Well, Brocious is on a flank, and it's happening through the run of play. It's mobility. And now we see Romano going up top and Brocious dropping down into the midfield. For Rutgers, they just simply need to have a greater commitment to just keeping the ball and then let the game flow from there.
Ohio State, another midfield takeaway. Here's Votny. And again, the Buckeyes try to work it from the wings. And it comes back for Flotra. It's from distance. A good pace on it, but just struck it too far.
Second ball, a shot like that, normally Megan McClellan will have little issue with it. At the same time, you'd like to have a defender closer to step and maybe alter the shot at the very least. By virtue of the fact that went sailing over the bar, sigh of relief. But you don't want the habit of not closing down to be part of that. So here's another turnover for Rutgers. That was unforced.
Sears, long run, cuts it back. A chance for Ohio State. Looking for one more at the top of the box, but Gianola stopped by Kroger. Now second chance. Yeah, McClellan watches it the whole way. Second try from Flotra.
Ohio State is anticipating the movement of Rutgers. That is the ball movement. If you're on the Rutgers side of things, they need to just keep the passing game more simple and gain a little confidence. Just things like this. Fluchel trying to force that one earlier to the left. Ohio State was positioned to just step in and win it. The other side of it is Rutgers needs to overhit passes rather than underhit, and that's been an issue as well. But again, another difficult ball up the flank for Riley Tiernan to try to handle. So Ohio State, although down a goal, they've got to be feeling a little bit better about themselves right now.
A good run by Barnett to start this, but just as quickly it's given away. And now Tiernan. This is where Rutgers has seemed most intriguing offensively, trying to spark a counter, but Ohio State plenty recovered now. Oh, that's well hit, though. That flag's up. Rutgers trying to get back to that combination of Brocious and Lowry, but Lowry, how quickly that ball ended up with Brocious, couldn't get back on side.
Well, that's a good, accurate ball into Brocious, and she knows that Ohio State's playing the high line, and the timing was off. Probably Lowry and Allison Lynch both offsides, but great to see the fullback inverted, angled run in to be able to try to walk in on goal.
Middle of the pitch here to at least start this for Ohio State as Votny's got it out wide now. A couple of dangerous crosses for Ohio State early. But in the last 10 minutes or so, struggling to set that play up. There's a swap we saw earlier. Emma Meisel's going to come out, and Adriana Kurla will re-enter the match. Kurla came in earlier in the period when Meisel left with a bloody nose.
Well, this is about right. Although Emma Meisel told the coaching staff that she could play 90 today, the plan is to play her for about half the game. So according to plan, as long as the hamstring holds true.
Flags up here.
Those are the aggravating offsides, Dominic, where you can, the winger's looking along the entire back line. She sees the whole line, yet she's positioned about at least a half step, if not a yard, offsides when that ball is struck. So you don't need to exaggerate it. You could even step back a yard, and you're still going to have the advantage if you receive that and hit a reception touch, a positive touch, a self-pass to eliminate the defender closest to you. It's also aggravating for the coaches, by the way, if you didn't catch my tone.
I gleaned that, yes. Yes, I did. But a couple of those for both teams today. Ohio State caught offside twice, Rutgers 3 times. Now, by the way, substitution for Rutgers. Gia Gearman in for the first time, and she'll slot into the center forward spot as Allison Lowry exits for the final 15 minutes or so.
Well, Lowry had the goal and really helped create it by fantastic movement off the ball, working hard off the ball to get herself positioned for the Brocious assist, walking in on the keeper for the goal. After that, not much else for Lowry and really for Rutgers. 2 shots total, and that only shot on frame, the Lowry goal.
Came back in the 6th minute. Rutgers with a solid start. Sarah Brocious with a really well-timed feed to set up Lowry, cutting through the center backs. Lowry's 6th goal, Brocious' 5th assist. And now Rutgers will look for more. Kroger trying to work her way to the end line. I couldn't nutmeg the defender there. Sensky, a veteran at center back. At that time, off Kroger to go for a goal kick.
Yeah, 5th-year graduate student, Sensky. Lori Walker spoke about Sensky in our pregame chat. Just the enormous experience. And you saw how she defended Kroger. We know Kroger good on the ball, has some crafty moves, and Sensky didn't buy any of it and won that battle facing up against Kroger.
Lynch searching for somebody to throw into, and it'll be Mason. Brocious timed it perfectly. Trying to cut it back for Gearman and can't. And then looking for Tiernan, but that's stopped. Brocious once again with perfect timing in this first half. The assist we mentioned was measured. That run was right on cue. But Ohio State able to defend it.
Notice how hard the forward Gearman worked to win the ball back for Rutgers.
Now Kroger, that pinballs to Gearman, who had half a step. And now out wide and under the crossbar. Is it in? No. Tiernan thought she had the goal. Our official can go to the monitor on this.
There's a Rutgers player in the net, and that's Allison Lynch, who missed the follow by heading it over the bar, and it was Tiernan who took the shot underneath the crossbar, and here we're going to get a really good look at it. Definitely not over the line, and Lynch did everything she could, and it was an in-between hop, and it was very hard for Lynch as it rose above her shoulders and then really above her headline to be able to leap and get on top of that ball to keep it under the bar. Get another look here. This will even be better. And credit Robinson with the save. She got a piece of that Tiernan shot and put it off the bar. That would have been under the bar in the back of the net. Got that touch.
It's funny at Yersack Field, if you haven't been here, they just installed a new video board a couple of weeks ago, and during the match, as right now, they stream our broadcast on the video board. And as we were watching the replay, you could hear the crowd watching it, and they say, "Aw," as it pinballed off the bar. Now, our official is over here talking to the coaches. I didn't get a chance to see if he was looking at the monitor while we were looking at our own monitor to watch the replays, but it seems surely it will stay 1-0 Rutgers.
The only thing I can think about with Lori Walker having this discussion that I saw in any part of that, and it could be something else, was Tiernan offsides? And the monitor was checked, and we saw it quite clearly in the 2 replays that it did not go over the line. Yes. Didn't even go on the line.
Cesar Ibarra agrees.
Yeah. But you have the opportunity to look at it, so you really should take it unless you've seen it so clearly. But where he was positioned, that really wasn't the case. And there's a shadow. If you look at it right now, there's like a shadow almost on the line. It just makes it, you can kind of see it there. It's just maybe a half a yard above the line. It just makes it a little bit more difficult to make a call like that.
Well, that right there, the no goal from Tiernan, who's got the ball now, that's the best offensive chance since the goal back in the 6th minute. Ohio State has forced one Rutgers save, but even that was not sort of top flight. And now Tiernan from distance curls it wide.
So Tiernan in the center of the field, angling to the left, really never closed down in a manner where she couldn't elect to shoot. She just scuffed it a bit. Not on target either. Sweeping tackle by Fluchel.
Gearman wins this. Flotra seemed to have some issue bringing it down. And now Tiernan right back on it. Romano sweeps it for Gearman, and she was offside. Also a nice tackle by Barnett to try to interrupt it. Rutgers starting to pick apart that Ohio State back line again. At least trying to.
That was close. And Gearman, she did the heavy lifting on that, driving towards the back line, beating one additional player off the dribble. Boy. Well, you're not on the line. The AR is. The flag went up. So, can't argue. But it was close.
Into the corner. Fisher digging. Mason's going to get there first. And it will go for a goal kick. Kayla Fisher, the two-time All-Big Ten around here on the wing, has been quite active today. Ohio State has wanted to play through her, and I think their best offense has come with her on the ball.
But a lot of that happened over the first 15 minutes of this first session, and Rutgers, I think, has made proper adjustments. They recognized it coming in, no question about it. They know of her. They've played against her, and many of the players for Ohio State. You know, these league teams, you get new players in, but coaches tend to play and instruct and have methods that are similar from year to year. So there's great familiarity, and Rutgers just made that adjustment a little bit later than you might have expected.
Worth mentioning, too, there is, even in a conference with 14 teams, when you don't play everybody every year, there is familiarity, as Glenn mentioned. This is the 10th time that Rutgers and Ohio State are playing as Big Ten opponents. And Ohio State is looking for its first ever win over Rutgers. Now, the Knights are 9-0-2 all time. Now, 7 of those 9 wins came as a Big Ten team. So they've seen each other a lot. And Ohio State looking for the breakthrough. And these veterans on this team, the 8 seniors who have seen some of the losses and ties, are looking to end that skid. But Lynch wins possession, and Tiernan now will start it. Not a lot of support forward, though.
Or back, to, for that matter. Somebody's got to move into a good angle back of square to be a pivot. Sam Kroger could have. Maybe Emily Mason, certainly Fluchel, and it wasn't there. And now Ohio State has it back.
Try to switch fields, perhaps. Here's Flothra. Looking direct to forward line. And Lowe mishandled it initially, but she wins it back. Sears, and she wins Ohio State's first corner.
Being called a goal kick, so it must have caromed off the Ohio State winger before it went out. Hey, one of those wins that Rutgers had before Rutgers joined the Big Ten Conference was right here at Earsack Field. And Janelle Foligno, Canadian international, scored the game winner in overtime. It was a fantastic match. And it was a goal worthy of an international. Janelle, one of the great forwards in the history of this Rutgers program.
A list that includes, of course, at the top, Carly Lloyd.
But Carly scored all her goals out of the midfield. So you could call her a forward.
Fair.
Definitely an attacking player, because it took a couple of years for Carly to figure out she needed to defend as well. But we started the process.
Hey, 2 more subs for both sides. Allie Post and Haley Gutowski are in for Rutgers, both on the attacking side of the ball. Tiernan and Kroger exit. Swaps for Ohio State. Kristen Bombick is in, along with Kira Watase. Emily Votny and Kina Flothra are both off. And this is an Ohio State free kick set up by this.
Yep, just a late entry by the substitute for Rutgers, Post.
Settled by Fisher for a moment, but Mason came in there as the second defender. And then that's struck wide by Barnett.
Well, Fisher brought that down well. She might have been better served to just try to, and it would have been spectacular, but just hit that full volley with the instep of her left foot. She tried to settle and then maybe make a move, but a lot of people in the area, so she couldn't come up with it.
It's interesting with Fisher. We've said her name a lot in this first half. Somebody with 59 career points, so a prolific scorer, but just 1 goal. No assists for her this year. Seems like she's sort of due. Here's Brocious in between the backs, and really well defended. That was Jones Black who boxed out Brocious and kept her away from the ball.
Well, Jones Black has come in and has really shut down the right side of the Rutgers attack.
Bouchel trying to slip it in for Gutowski. And Brocious can't save it.
There have been a number of those sort of giveaways on both sides. Big Ten opener. I think the Big Ten opener nerves are have subsided by now. But the physical nature of the game, too, is playing a role. And I think, Dom, the last couple of days here in the Northeast in New Jersey, the weather has been temperate. It's been mid-70s, cool, almost fall-like. Today is very hot. I sense these two teams, both of them have had a week off to prepare. You don't often get that in a fall college season. But it just seems like it's the game is a bit slow-moving.
I think in the last 20 minutes especially, it's sort of borne itself out as Rutgers earns the whistle here. It's a free kick from before midfield.
I don't know about you, but when it starts getting like that, the weather, is easing up, and that's my favorite time of the year is the fall here in the Northeast. And then all of a sudden you get zapped with another hot, humid day. It can take you back a little bit.
Yeah. Well, like Glenn mentioned, these should be well-rested teams. These are rested clubs. We'll see if either team comes out with a little more force and speed in the second half.
I would venture to say that neither of these teams for the rest of the regular season will have a 1-game week. But we'll look it up. And it's interesting, Lori Walker.
Let's see, here's Gearman, tracks it down. Rutgers looking to add 1 more. And she shouldered off the ball. And once again, that is Sensky there, who's taking care of business on the far sideline. Kurla getting in the mix, trying to cross it, and finds Gutowski. Strikes it a little bit too high. That's going to go out of play.
Lori Walker-Hawk, the Ohio State coach, along with G. Guerreri, the Texas A&M coach, both over 25 years at their schools, they are heading up a committee to propose, and they've already done it, an extended fall season on the women's side. You may have heard of the men's 21st century model, where they're talking about over the full academic year having a schedule.
Fisher again driving it in. The flag was up too, so Sears offside as McClellan got there anyway.
So I talked to Lori and G about it, and their proposal will take 9 two-game weekends and limit it to 4 two-game weekends over this extended fall model. So it is student-athlete welfare. It is better preparation, and it's always been very difficult. In my day, Dom, it was Friday, Sunday. In the Big East, in the AAC, those conferences were Friday, Sunday, with rare exceptions. On occasion, you'd get a Thursday, Sunday.
Sears onside here. McClellan way out of goal, and she clips it away.
McClellan made the right choice. Those are the difficult decisions by a keeper, because they're judging their own pace against a fleet winger who they aren't familiar with necessarily in terms of the foot race, and McClellan did really well there.
Final minute, Ohio State looking to keep up this bit of pressure. It's a Buckeye team that has had sufficient possession, but has not been able to put many on target, just one. And now it gets knocked all the way back to Robinson. By the way, Glenn, as we peek ahead to the second half, Rutgers has one more full week off before postseason play begins. Ohio State sort of has one. It's a Sunday to Saturday.
Okay, that counts.
Divide between games, so effectively a week. Curling it in with 15 seconds, and Kurla curls it away.
It's those games that are played within a 72-hour period that are really detrimental.
Now, Gianna Romano will carry out the final few moments of the opening half. A top 25 battle. Not a lot of offensive chances, but Rutgers had one. And Allison Lowry cashed in all the way back in the 6th minute off a great feed from Sarah Brocious.
Well, Brocious did so well receiving the ball and then running at the back four. And here we're getting a look at it extended. And watch the movement of Lowry off the ball to curl her run, and then the ball played between the defenders. Great assist and a fantastic finish by Lowry.
Lowry's 6th goal of the season. That's the reason why the Scarlet Knights lead 1-0 at the break in this top 25 battle with Ohio State.
College sports, any sport, really, it teaches you to weather difficult situations later on in your life. It truly does.
Playing sports in college really prepared me for life in that it gave me a work ethic and a drive. I think when you play on a sport, you come together for a common cause, bigger than just yourself. So I think that when you work then in an office setting, it does the same thing. You're all coming together for the greater good.
Title IX has really given us women all a very big opportunity, especially for me and all the other internationals. We don't have this kind of thing back at home.
You can't be a D1 athlete without having good work ethic. So the impact, the organization skills, the competition, when you're
Cheney, Maggie Muscarella Kessler, Robin Copperthwaite, Liz Pellerin, and Aniko Costanzo. We thank all of our women's soccer letter winners for your continued support of the Rutgers women's soccer program, and ask that you direct your attention to the video board for a special tribute to the 1984 team, the founding members of Rutgers women's soccer.
It's just surreal to be here and to see everything come to the level that it is now is just, it's tremendous.
It's really nice to know that all our hard work has accomplished something and Rutgers has taken off and put themselves on the map. After that first year, you know, we had a lot of All-Americans come out of the school and, you know, some firm players, and it's really an accomplishment.
For the girls who realized what it took to get the team going, I would hope that they would realize that if we weren't just given a team, we were given a no. We can't have a team. We were told Rutgers doesn't need a women's soccer team. There are other sports for girls here, and we could find another team we could play on if we wanted to play on a varsity team. And we didn't accept that. We petitioned. We got the support of Title IX, and we made it happen in spite of what we were told.
Actually, on Thursday night, we had a fearless girls' night at the same site. Out of all of us, from the bottom of our heart, we consider you all fearless and our fearless girls for doing something that probably no one had the courage to do back then, and for creating such a legacy now.
We were able to assemble all of these girls in less than 2 weeks' time, all because this team meant so much to us, and we had never actually all been invited back to celebrate the first team. And it just made us all think, wow, 35 years ago. And I think I'm speaking for all of us and saying we wish for you to not let 2 years go.
There's an outlet now, meaning a professional outlet for women to pursue their passion, which is to play soccer. We didn't really have that, certainly not in the United States. So to see what grassroots programs, what local programs, what high school and collegiate programs have done on a professional level, and that we've had quite a few young ladies make it to the professional level, that's where I think our impact has come. It made a difference.
We thank all of the trailblazers who had a role in bringing Rutgers women's soccer to where it is today. Honoring our past, celebrating our present, and leading our future. We thank you, our Rutgers women's soccer alumni.
Halftime of a top 25 battle between number 4 Rutgers and number 21 Ohio State. At the break, it is the Scarlet Knights with a 1-0 lead. With Glenn Crooks, I'm Dom Savino. Let's take you back through the highlight of the first half. Really good soccer, and it ends up with Allison Lowry scoring the only goal of the half.
Well, look as she curls her run wide to the left to create enough space between defenders for Brocious to find her. But you saw Brocious at the beginning of that, just getting in a deep pocket, receiving the ball on a half turn so she could advance right away, and that makes it more difficult to defend as well. Both of them involved in some very good soccer, and it's given Rutgers the 1-goal lead here at the interval.
You see the first half stats. Aside from that goal, it was a half really devoid of much scoring chance for either side.
Yeah, I think you've got two good teams here, and statistically, yeah, it's the one thing you don't see there. Each team had 50% of the ball as well. The one thing I think both sides came to understand is that they need to secure the ball better. There were a number of unforced giveaways in not necessarily innocuous parts of the pitch, sometimes in the middle of the park, but both teams did very well defending the counterattacks by either side. I really do think the team that best secures the ball and then finds that moment to get in behind is going to have the edge here in the second half.
Well, of course, with Rutgers in the lead, we talk about Ohio State and changes they might make. One we know about because this has been nearly every game for the Buckeyes this year. The freshman Molly Pritchard will take over in goal for the super senior Kat Robinson. Pritchard's been pretty good, 80% save percentage, 1.33 goals against average, but it's a new look for Rutgers and a different player in the back for Ohio State.
I have not scouted the keepers personally, so I'm sure Rutgers has seen both keepers operate. So I think for the Ohio State back four, you wonder that sometimes the switch of keepers will make it a little bit more difficult if they have different personalities, different tools. Is one better with her feet than the other? Normally you like that number one keeper if you're a back four because there's this supreme confidence. But I'm certain if there's confidence that the coach, Lori Walker, has, that the team also reflects that. But for Rutgers and how they might attack them, I don't know if there's anything in particular that they've seen.
Well, Rutgers, if this result holds, would post the best ever start in program history. Scarlet Knights are 8-0, the only 8-0 team in the nation right now. Trying to continue what's been a blazing start. And Rutgers has the possession to start as Romano tries to volley it, and it's just over the bar.
Well, we just talked about giving the ball away in dangerous spots, and Ohio State did that within the first minute of the second half. Kroger picking it off, and that was a legit scoring opportunity. And Molly Pritchard, the freshman, in goal. It was just a switch. And maybe that would answer your question too, Dom. Put pressure on her immediately, see how she reacts, and she can breathe easily now as that one went over the bar.
Here's Sarah Brocious, quite active in the first half and turns to find some space to operate and opts to go out wide for Riley Tiernan. New matchup here on the outside. This is Sydney Jones as Tiernan to the back post, and Pritchard just caught a piece of that. It's going to go for a goal kick, but that must have bent around Pritchard's hand.
Well, that was hit with pace, and you can see it fizz past the back post. Tiernan claiming there was a touch. We didn't get that call, but I think the thing to really understand and notice there is how easily Tiernan accelerated past Jones, who's a U20 pool player, national pool, probably more noted for her attacking prowess, which we didn't really get a glimpse of in the first half too often. And here's Rutgers now applying pressure once again in the midfield.
Yeah, so no credit for Pritchard on a save there, although that ball seemed to take a deflection, or it must have bent wickedly right as it got to Tiernan. And now this foul goes against Tiernan. A bit too harassing on Peyton McNamara. And so Ohio State will have what could be its best set piece so far.
I wondered if Fisher would come over and take this with her left peg and just whip it in front of McNamara. But it appears Sydney Jones, she's the one backing off it now.
Jones, edge of the 6, and Kroger there to guide that away initially, and now Mason clears it. Now, not bad territory from Jones there, but Ohio State could not really do much. Now second ball.
Seemed to be under hit. My preference there, and that's just, this is why there are opinions about things, and folks look at things a little differently, but Fisher, the way she could strike the ball with the left and just whip it in and try to put it in front of McClellan, the goalkeeper for Rutgers, to me, much more difficult to defend than a ball that's outswinging and you can now move towards it and clear it, which Rutgers did somewhat successfully. Ohio State still has it in the RU end.
Meisel trying to clear, and she does. Here's Jones. I chipped in, but it's between Banks and Meisel, and no Buckeye really in the area. And now Lowry comes out wide, and she claims it as Tiernan cuts back inside. I couldn't handle it initially. There's Daigle stepping into it. We know she's dangerous from distance. And then her and Lowry not timed up. There was room there for Lowry with a well-timed run, but just not all on the same page.
No, and so Lowry was popping out wide, hoping to get it to her feet, but Daigle on the dribble, the way she carried the ball, it created a gap, a seam, and that's what she decided to do, just hit that well-weighted pass at the seam, hoping that Lowry would read that. But that all started with Riley Tiernan checking hard to the sideline and creating that space in behind, and you saw Meisel, a natural left footer, be able to just curl one in, just kind of clip it in for Lowry to run onto, and that started that whole process for Rutgers.
Here's Emma Sears. You know, she's dangerous on the flank. And that cross stopped. It'll go for a corner.
Well, Sears showing her stuff. She beat 2 players off the dribble, but the first was Meisel, number 55 in your picture, and then the recovery to become the second defender for Banks, which, yes, a turnover, rather a corner kick was earned. However, it could have been worse if the Ohio State attacker could have gotten around the edge.
Back post is headed by Barnett, but it's a little high, a little wide. A free header that time for Ohio State.
That's the second free header we've seen off of corners. First half for Rutgers, it was Emily Mason missing the target. And now it's Barnett missing the target. So
the center backs have had the chances.
Yes. And there, that one was more of a clearance. Mason headed it down, but just didn't get it on target.
That corner, by the way, the first one of the day for Ohio State. Daigle. Lowry looks at the flag and peers back a second time. The AR now says offside.
Well, when they go back in the film room to look at this one, if indeed they pick this one out, Daigle will see that she probably should have tried to slice one here on this backside to Riley Tiernan, as Ohio State was very collapsed on the ball side. And the fullback here, Sydney Jones, she kind of had her body squared towards the ball. Didn't see Riley real well. Tiernan was calling for her. But you also saw what Daigle was trying to do, just reverse a ball into Lowry. Not a bad choice either.
Something Ohio State wanted to do is pressure Rutgers. Let's see if we get a little bit more of that in the second half as the Buckeyes hunt for the equalizer.
One thing center backs need to do when they play it into a midfielder from that distance, as Banks did to Daigle, they have to come in underneath. They have to be that support player. Banks was the closest one. She kind of held her ground at the back. You become a midfielder at that point and let people rotate in behind you if necessary. So whether Daigle would have played it back to her in one or not, you do need to provide that sort of support.
There's Daigle. And elbowed off the ball. And Fluchel did well to stop it. It's Fisher there playing more centrally than we saw in the first half. But Rutgers wins it with Kroger now. Sam Kroger, by the way, in the first half, no shots.
Fluchel won the ball back twice from Fisher.
To the left now with Meisel. Tiernan onside. Beats the defender. Has it on the right foot. Tiernan, it's blocked. Ohio State's defense recovered quite nicely. Jones got beat initially, but there were several help defenders there.
As we've seen often this year, Riley Tiernan in the first half will play on the right, Kroger on the left, and then they will switch for the second 45 minutes. LaFleur struggled with Riley Tiernan as the fullback on Tiernan's side of the first half, replaced by Jones Black. It's Cindy Jones, who I would say wants no piece of Riley Tiernan at the moment. Tiernan has beat her cleanly twice off the dribble. And right there, that was something that Rutgers could have provided a little insurance on the scoreboard.
Give some credit, too, to Talani Barnett. She was the one who blocked the shot from Tiernan within 10 yards for
Absolutely.
sure.
Well, that's part of it. And, you know, the center back's got to be.
Oh, this is in. Brocious has it and sweeps it in. Timed the run, a gentle touch, and a 2-0 Rutgers lead.
What a wonderful finish. Brocious, whose measured pass was brilliant to assist Lowry in the first half. Here it's Daigle finding the through ball to Brocious. Great reception touch. And then the touch to beat the keeper. And there's the insurance goal, although plenty of time left, obviously at 2-0. So Rutgers has begun the second half with a plum over these first 10 minutes. Both goals in this game, Dom, have come with passes between defenders, and that is something out of the midfield. It's why you scan. It's why your eyes are up to know early on how the back four is set up. If they're jammed up, if they're very tight, that's when you want to go over the top or wide. But when they're split like that, and Brocious making that penetrating run out of the midfield, as she does so well. Really fantastic. Both goals have been absolutely fantastic from a pure soccer standpoint.
Sarah Brocious has been, in a lot of ways, the glue in Rutgers formation this year. Playing box to box, somebody who can play on the forward line and score goals. That's her second of the season. Now, she has been well rewarded for her position on this team. 3 points today and involved in both of Rutgers' goals. Is that fair to say, too? I mean, Brocious chips in on the back end. Somebody who was a center back in high school. That foul will go against Ohio State. But also Brocious, we know, can score the goals, too.
Yeah, part of it is her technical ability to really direct a shot. I mean, she can curl it past the keeper. She can drive it past the keeper. She can hit it low to the backside or near post side. And she can score in a variety of ways.
Now here's Meisel cutting it in. And Barnett once again there. This is a Rutgers offensive effort that we really did not see, not as sustained as this in the first half. It's Tiernan double-teamed and forced to give it up. That's one right back, though. And now Daigle finds it. Tried to get it to the left foot, but that was blocked.
So perhaps some better decision-making in the final third. Tiernan, first of all, trying to force things by turning under pressure when she had Meisel underneath her just to get her into play. And then Daigle again with 2 defenders there. That's a very difficult shot. Maybe somebody could show a little closer to her. You work a quick 1-2, and maybe you're walking in on the keeper. It's a coach's search for better quality in the attacking third. Every coach in the world at every level, every gender is seeking the same. It's always that part of the field where you're intent on continuing to make it better, more effective, and certainly creating better chances.
You will very rarely hear a coach say, we scored too many goals today. We got to stop.
Well, Jim
2-0,
Kurt of the Philadelphia Union, I mean, they have done something no other team in MLS has done. They've scored 6 or more goals in 4 games this season. And he basically said, I really would prefer we save some of these for the playoffs. So there's one, you know, he doesn't really mean he wishes they didn't score, but you get the gist.
Yeah.
Dom, no other team in MLS history, in the entirety of each franchise's history, has scored 6 or more goals in 4 games. The Philadelphia Union did it starting in July till now. No other team in MLS history has done it more than 3 times in their history. When I saw that statistic, I was flabbergasted. That's the kind of year they've had. All the South Jersey players here, I'm sure, are Philadelphia fans. We've gone over that before.
The quantity of Philly and New York City fans, undoubtedly a bunch here. A really nice turnout, too. Some Ohio State fans in attendance today.
Absolutely.
Saw them when the Buckeyes got off the bus.
They have a faithful traveling party.
Here's McClelland trying to pick out Rutgers' next move. Now the Knights can play a bit more comfortably thanks to Sarah Brocious' goal, and there she is in pursuit of possession. Ohio State, you figure, has to act with some urgency here as Sears cuts it in, but that may have been partially at least tipped. Seemed to slow the pace of it.
It's interesting because Sears on the right and Fisher on the left have certainly had some success, but then it's got to be what happens next. Is it quality of service? How do you work it from there? And Rutgers has defended the area very well. Occasionally, the wingers have gotten around the edge, Sears and Fisher, but have been unable to produce a tally for Ohio State here on a Sunday afternoon.
Speaking of Fisher, here she is. Hesitates on the ball. Face up from low. And now Sears sends it in, and it's over Fisher's head.
Only 2 players in the penalty area for Ohio State on that. It was Fisher at the back post. That's the player where that service sailed past her. Now a Rutgers throw-in. It would behoove Ohio State to get more numbers forward at this point. Again, it's a half hour left. Still lots of time. So you don't want to necessarily change things too dramatically, but when you're 2 goals down, again, this is, everyone looks at this differently, but with 20 minutes left, there need to be some dramatic changes to how you're going at it, and a lot of that has to do with getting more numbers forward. Maybe you release your fullbacks a little bit more quickly. You might change your shape. You might press a little bit more in areas that you weren't pressing earlier in the match. You have to take some risks down 2 goals.
A couple of streaks at risk here for Ohio State, something we mentioned earlier. A team that has not lost in its last 4 matches. The Buckeyes, for the first time ever, are 4-0 on the road to start the season. This is a team that has played really well this year, 5-1-1, but in need of scoring. And in need of scoring chances, really. Just 1 shot on goal past an hour of play.
But with a 2-0 lead, if Rutgers commits a silly foul in a goal-scoring area. There are different ways that you can nick a goal, and then it becomes a whole different approach, and Rutgers could feel as good as they want about themselves now. If Ohio State were able to come up with something, it changes the course of the game a little bit.
Fisher and Sears on the same side of the field here as Meisel fighting with Fisher. They both go down, and no whistle.
Oh, good 50-50 challenge. Both players working very hard to win the ball.
And now Fisher back on the left, trying to square up. That's deflected. And McClellan tracks it over. It's going to go for a corner.
You made an observation earlier that it looked like, and there she is, Fisher was a little bit more central. And indeed, she has played inverted, and she's had the fullback overlapper on a couple of occasions, Jones Black, who came in as a reserve the first half and has maintained her spot here in the second. I don't want to say Fisher has ignored her, but she got the shot off there to create this corner.
Clothra, top of the 6. And the foul as McClellan came in. It may have been a push-off against one of the Ohio State would-be headers.
Megan McClellan. She's seen just about everything in her career, I would say. But getting those fullbacks in, Dom, forgive me, like the young lady on the left side, Jones Black, you know, Fisher can play her, and then Fisher can get herself into the area. Now you have an additional player in the box to potentially finish, which Fisher is efficient in that manner. And that's one of the things I didn't want to say she was ignoring her necessarily, but maybe just not aware or thinking she sees something. She got the corner last time, but there were a couple of other times where it got really stuffed early by a compact Rutgers defense. So we'll see how it continues to go. But again, Ohio State working wide. That's where they have normally generated a majority of their attack. Thanks for letting me finish that, Dom.
Happy to. We get part of the coaches show, some of the coaches analysis on your radio show right here on the broadcast. It's always fun when that bleeds in.
My pleasure. It's just to really enjoy talking about the game. You know, what's happening, why it's happening, how you could solve if it's not going well, how you can maintain if it is going well, what adjustments you need to make. Isn't that the love of sports?
That's the whole point.
I know.
At least why we're here.
Some people just have teams and they just care if they win or lose.
Tiernan, she'll try. It's stopped. Jones got a piece of it, and a secondary deflection behind her, too, from Sensky. And now Benton Lowry playing it back. Here's Tiernan up top. Looking for space. Tiernan not finding it. 4 defenders there. And the Buckeyes claim it. It is very evident, especially when Tiernan is within either side of the penalty area, that she is going to have lots of attention. Sometimes one-on-one on the wing, but in these sorts of situations, Ohio State not letting her go far. That gives some space for Kurla here to come through, and it's on target. But Molly Pritchard, the freshman, has her first save of the day.
And Kurla did not mean to shoot that. And she set that up nicely. Tiernan got the ball. Kurla held up initially and waited for Tiernan to be able to clear a little space and then burst into the overlap. Tiernan found her well in stride. It was just a technical area by Kurla.
Brocious. Again, Tiernan's got it. Cutting it in, and that's a dangerous header. I don't know if Barnett struck that quite the way she wanted to. In the end, it's okay. It's a corner.
I can respond to that by saying, no, she did not. She had hoped to put that maybe into touch here on our side for a throw-in or just head it clear outside of the area. But She also wasn't sure what was behind her. That's a really tough spot to head it out for a corner when you're standing right in front of goal. Here's Tiernan again with a service, and there we see it. And either way, it was ultimately defended well.
So Fluchel will take this Rutgers corner. Edge of the 6, that was dangerous. A chance right in the 6, may have been Brocious there, who had flew by. And in the end, it goes out for a goal kick.
It's always amazing. There were 14 players in there. 14, count them. And it didn't touch one of them.
Yeah. It was Lynch who took a leap at it, and just couldn't connect either. And now Ohio State making like 3 substitutions here. Glenn mentioned 20 minutes out, down 2. That would be the spot where he would make the changes, and we are not far away from that point.
Well, Fisher has moved out to the right. You've got a new midfielder, Gianola, freshman from San Diego Surf.
Let's see, a swap for Rutgers as Riley Tiernan comes out and Gianna Romano comes in on the forward line. The 3 changes for Ohio State: Peyton McNamara and Kristen Bombick re-enter. Dakota Lyons forward in for the first time too. Emma Sears, one of the 3 who exits, with Kina Flothra and Kaylin Dudukovic. So some new offensive weapons on the field here for the Buckeyes as they search for scoring. And Kroger just hit that a little too far, out of the reach of Gia Gearman, another recent entry.
With the one re-entry that you get in college soccer, how Rutgers manages this, and you're getting an idea here, because both Riley Tiernan and now Allison Lowry coming out, they can re-enter. So now they'll come in, they'll get a drink, get a bit of a rest, and then you'll see them the final push over the last 10 minutes most likely. It's possible things will be settling in quite nicely, and you might give them the rest of the game off. I would doubt it.
It may depend on how Ohio State fares over these next 10 minutes or so. Right now, Rutgers leads in shots 12-8. Rutgers with 3 on target. 2 of them have gone in. And Ohio State with just 1. It was back in about the 15th minute. It was Emma Sears, back post, and a fairly easy stop for McClelland. And here's Mason. She has license. And here she goes. I was going to put that on target, but it's stopped by Barnett. We don't get to keep a count of how many passes and shots get blocked in a match. Don't have those stats at the college level, but just trust us, Barnett has had several today.
A very good second half for Rutgers University. Not unusual. Actually, mostly the norm,
Mason.
but a slip.
Yeah, she slips. A chance here for Ohio State and McNamara. One-on-one against Banks. McNamara wide. Oh, she couldn't cash in. Banks was turning and is a little slow to her feet, but McNamara just could not get her foot all the way around this one, I think.
Oh, we don't see Emily Mason slip over the ball, but she does, and there is no one in coverage behind her. So a lot of chasing here, including Banks, and Banks certainly helped alter that shot with that recovery. And then Megan McClellan coming off her line as well. But the essence, Rutgers fortunate. Getting a better look at it here. Just literally slipped over the ball. The cutback by McNamara. She's still trying to just figure out where she wanted to put it past Michelle McNamara, and that last touch that she took before the shot Gave McNamara a chance to cut down the angle, and Banks a little bit more time to just intervene enough to maybe alter it.
Kurla one-times it. Gearman, great timing on the run. Two defenders here, though, trying to create for herself. Still forcing forward, and a save by Pritchard. Still in the area. Here's Haley Gutowski, and that goes out for a goal kick. Molly Pritchard with little time to react, and the freshman made the stop.
Well, Emily Mason played a ball in behind, and Gearman was onside, well onside. And because the defenders are facing forward and Gearman is facing towards the goal, she was able to get in behind. And a tremendous save by the freshman.
Now 2 saves for the youngster, Molly Pritchard, somebody who her head coach, Lori Walker-Hawk, says is the future of our program. She says her feet are great, her range is excellent, and we've mentioned Lori Walker-Hawk, a goalkeeper and an elite goalkeeper too at UNC. She said that Pritchard makes some saves that even put her in awe. Pritchard showing some of that here. At the very least, keeping it a 2-goal difference, giving her team a chance. Now Romano trudging forward, battling with Jones. In the end, it's a throw-in. And we'll get some re-entries here, 4 of them for Rutgers. Kylie Daigle and Emma Meisel are in. Lowry and Tiernan might have to wait a moment to come in. It's Banks off on the back line and Kroger off offensively. As Gearman gets fouled.
Cesar Ibarra, he was trying to wait to see if Gearman could make something out of it. The foul occurred. He let it play on for a bit and now is bringing it back. Rutgers could put it 2 or 3 yards closer. Now they will. Good officiating. And I've got a prediction here. You want to hear it?
Of course I do.
Fluchel will hit a direct shot on goal.
We'll see if that bears itself out. Somebody who can strike the ball really well. She's been Rutgers' PK taker the last few years.
And then it's the rebound if it's on the keeper's hands.
Fluchel, and she bends it over the bar. Now, that was the thought. I mentioned the Rutgers subs. Lowry and Tiernan are back in. Also, Ohio State brings back in Keena Flothra.
Well, on a free kick like that, you got to look at Lowry there. Scored the early goal for Rutgers, which right now is listed as the game winner, if this score holds true. But those free kicks, you've got to make the keeper save it. And with the pace that Fluchel can strike it, just get through the ball and force the keeper to come up with it. If she catches it cleanly, then more power to her. But then you've got your teammates rushing on for the rebound.
Clotra. And it's Fluchel that time on the stoppage.
The job of the 6. Prevent penetration at that point, right in front of the back 4. She's a great shield for them, Becky Fluchel.
Fluchel, a 3-year starter at that position in the defensive midfield. And last year, second team All Big Ten. These two starting 11s are likely to have several more All Big Teners this year. All right, now Ohio State looking for scoring. Here's Fisher trying to curl it in, and McClellan is there, claiming it before any chance from Dakota Lions.
Allison Lynch doing her part to protect the keeper. Watch here, just warding off the winger for Ohio State while McClellan had time to smother it.
Good work on the ball here from Daigle. And now bumped off of it. Worth mentioning, by the way, Kylie Daigle had the assist on Sarah Brocious' goal in the second half to put Rutgers up 2-0. Daigle now on a 7-game point streak. Somebody in her first year as a starter, just a sophomore. Comes out for Jones. And then leads Fisher too far. Thought for a moment that Jones might drive that in herself. Now some things that Ohio State will look at after this and try to reignite the offense, I think.
Well, Lori Walker knows her team best, has been doing it a long time, knows what her team is capable of.
This time the flag goes up on Gia Gearman. And you can hear the reaction from the folks wearing Rutgers scarlet here at URSAC.
They're wrong, by the way. She was offsides.
Gearman had a perfectly timed run earlier in this half. They don't have the down-the-line look that you might get in some other broadcasts, but get a pretty good shot of it in a moment.
Well, they quieted down quickly. They must have heard that she was about a yard off.
Rutgers, by the way, has been called offside 7 times today. It has not hurt the results to this point, with Rutgers leading 2-0, but mentioning things Ohio State might think about, Rutgers will certainly figure out ways to stay onside a bit more. That's from distance, and it pings the post. That was ambitious from Kina Flothra, and very nearly inside the 90. And now a foul against Gearman will give Ohio State a free kick.
No, this is teed up nicely. What a strike off the bar. That didn't miss by much. Flothra. Fantastic strike. And back to what I was saying about Lori Walker knowing her team. The thing I would consider is maybe putting 4 up top, 3-3-4. I mean, you're down 2. You're on the road. You have very little to lose at this point. But that was very close to making it 2-1, and there's still over 10 minutes left.
Flothra on it. Header. And fouls against Ohio State. That was Barnett who came in, and I think committed the foul.
Well, that was questionable only because I think it was Allison Lowry who dipped down to clear that with the head. And if you get your body maybe more vertical, let's get a look at it, and you've got an attacking player coming in on it right here. Well, I have no idea what happened and why there was a foul called.
Yeah, not a lot of contact there from Barnett, and you could see her reaction. She was confused too. And now here's a giveaway by Ohio State. Tiernan in for Lowry with Barnett, and Lowry strikes it wide.
Lowry targeting the upper left corner. We've seen her finish these before, and how that pass slipped through by Tiernan. Those two have certainly formed a relationship on the pitch that is ever growing. Tiernan a regular in her freshman year. Lowry a reserve forward. Now they're playing together full time.
Here's Sears winning possession. And now Fisher comes to claim it. Under 10 minutes to go in this one. Fisher, good slice, and Mason content to head it out for a corner.
See, now if you were playing 4 up top, my winger would have been right there to finish that.
Buckeyes take this quickly.
Just kidding, Lori.
Jones, that's stopped by Meisel. And now Tiernan claims it. There's only 3 players here, one of them Gearman. One of the other 2 for Ohio State is Jones Black. Barnett stepping forward. And Kroger cuts that off. Gianola was there. If Kroger is not there, Gianola may have had a great chance with nobody but the keeper in front of her.
And you see the Ohio State players, Dom, taking it upon themselves to take more risk. So you have the center back, Barnett, pushing herself more forward, seeing if she can create something as well.
Three Scarlet Knights here and 6 for the Buckeyes. Jones couldn't get there. Tiernan pacing it forward. Slipping it in for Lowry, who stays on her feet. It's stopped by Pritchard, but a PK will be awarded.
Good call. Well done by the referee. You know, normally players have to fall flat on their face to get the call. Yellow card as well. Well, Tiernan has played 2 balls on the deck through to Lowry. Lowry missed wide and to the left a moment ago. And now, great control, draws the penalty. And Becky Fluchel will try to, in no uncertain terms, end this game.
Fluchel, a perfect 4 for 4 on PKs in her career. Rutgers already leading 2-0, a goal in either half against the freshman Molly Pritchard. Fluchel, off the post. It was on the outside of the left post, and it stays a 2-0 match. The door stays open for Ohio State on the road.
Not her best penalty, and obviously you've got to make the keeper, force the keeper to save any penalty if it's going to stay out of the back of the net. But Fluchel has been brilliant from the spot during the course of her career.
That's her first miss, at least on a PK outside of a penalty kick shootout at the end of play. So it stays 2-0, but can Ohio State do anything with that is the question. And that will be a foul as Gianola levels Tiernan.
The supporters want the card. They want the booking.
That was Kitty
No way. Come on, everybody toughen up.
That was Kitty Jones Black who got the yellow that gave Rutgers the PK. But not a second booking here for the Buckeyes. Not still 6:30 to go. Gianola couldn't get there, but Sears does. Top of the box, bends it right at McClelland. It was good creation from Emma Sears, who has had some highlight reel goals, but that time McClelland was right in the middle of the goal and had it the whole way.
Well, that inside dribble Rutgers needs to be aware of, and the second defender that came was the center back. You saw Fluchel come in a little later. These are the stages where Rutgers will sometimes go to a second defensive midfielder, play 2 in the hole in front of the back 4, just to add to the secure nature defensively, as Kroger is held trying to break free. And another booking.
Yeah, it's Kina Flothra who gets booked.
Just thinking about Riley Tiernan, I think when people come out and see Tiernan play in person, they become enamored with her 1v1 capabilities and some of the things that she can do. But you check out the passes to Lowry here in the second half and the one for the goal, the assist on the goal. It's, you know, the way she can deliver a pass, whether it's left or right. She can whip it across with the left, there with the right foot. Just a feathered touch on a ball into Lowry. drew the penalty. The penalty was not converted. I may have said it was an assist. It wasn't, obviously, but.
Well, you can see why we're stopped here. This is Gia Gearman coming off the pitch. Walking under her own power, but looking a bit gingerly in the process. And so Gianna Romano will come in for her, and it feels pretty safe to say Gearman can stay off for these last 5.5 minutes or so. Now, Rutgers team that was perfect in Big Ten play last year, 10-0. Just the 5th time in the nearly 30 years of Big Ten women's soccer that a team finished the regular season without a loss or a draw to its name. And Rutgers now a few minutes away from starting off a new season in the same fashion.
Kroger's so good at drawing fouls, getting herself tangled up while she's on the dribble. Some stop-and-go movements, recognizing where the defender is.
Pritchard comes out to punch it, takes out a defender, one of her teammates in the process. This is still in the area. Oh, a big bump of Lowry. Pritchard gets there. We'll have to look at the replay to see if that was truly a shove from Barnett or if Lowry embellished a bit.
No foul. Yeah.
Upended, I think, as Pritchard slid in.
Slight shoulder into Lowry, but nothing where you would call the PK.
And a flag is up once more. 8th time today. Rutgers been called offsides.
Man, that was close.
Lynch was right on that line. Mason steps in front of McNamara. Rutgers trying to ward off a last effort here from Ohio State. Sears gonna go for a corner. 4th for Ohio State, all in the second half.
Mason was looking right in that area to the left. Her pace, she was able to track the ball down. Didn't feel comfortable playing it back to the keeper. But the first person to get to that was going to be Sears. Probably should just wellied it out of bounds. But no damage done as the corner ball is misplayed by Ohio State.
Yeah, may have been hurried a little bit. Buckeyes didn't get a chance there. Now this Rutgers team coming out of the comeback win over LSU last Sunday didn't have, from all indications and all conversations, an invincibility about it, but had the feeling that, hey, we can tackle anything. Rutgers a few minutes away from starting Big Ten play 1-0, and today came out strong, and it just continued on that sort of trend. Even when the game seemed to lag on both sides late in the first half, was able to stay in control.
Well, second half, I was starting to talk about effective second halves under Michael O'Neill for Rutgers University. That's when Emily Mason had slipped over the ball, and it prompted a breakaway or a mini breakaway that Ohio State failed to convert on. But it's no accident. And the LSU match was no accident. You know, the Rutgers coaching staff had 15 minutes to diagnose how it could be better. 3 goals later, you win 3-2 and maintain your undefeated mark. Throughout the years, Rutgers has excelled in the second half of play, and despite the fact they are all great friends, I will gladly and decisively and genuinely say that the coaching staff sees the game and they know how to instruct in those 10 to 15 minutes to try to better things up. Good motivators as well. Sometimes it's just motivation, Tom. Sometimes it's tactical,
yeah.
Sometimes it's motivation. You've got to make that decision before you step into the dressing room and sort things out.
It's been a recipe for winning. That certainly goes back, not even just to your time. I mean, this is a Rutgers program that historically has done a lot of winning. And certainly under Michael O'Neill, they have reached a new high bar. That's in the area, and McClelland will scoop it up. 80 seconds to go. So Rutgers moments away from going to 1-0 in Big Ten play. extending what will be the best start in program history. Set to go to 9-0. They'll be the only team in the nation 9-0, and one of just 2 teams at the start of play today with a perfect record, UCLA being the other. A College Cup last year. So far, the encore has been just as good as Lowry heads it to Tiernan, searching for one more. It's deflected. Oh, it's right at Pritchard. There was a chance for the icing on the cake. And Romano struck it right at Pritchard.
Romano had herself positioned very well, reading her teammate Tiernan, and we've seen Riley get around the edge on the left. She cuts back now, puts it on her right. Meisel, a good reintroduction to the starting 11 today, the left back.
It's a Rutgers team that talks about scoring goals and getting clean sheets. That objective accomplished today for the Scarlet Knights as the reigning Big Ten regular season champ starts off its title defense with a victory. 2-0 over Ohio State, a game in which Rutgers took more shots and comes up with another clean sheet.
Well, Rutgers outshot Ohio State in that second half by 8, 4-1 on frame. So, you get a little of the idea of how Rutgers began to take charge of the game, which is the norm here at Yersack Field here too. Many teams are comfortable at home across the nation, and Rutgers, in a very dominant way, they win matches at Yersack Field. And Sarah Brocious, just the way she received that ball from Kylie Daigle and then maneuvered around the keeper in that 2-touch fashion, that's a wonderful goal. Daigle to Brocious, and Brocious assisting on the opening goal by Allison Lowry. So great afternoon for Rutgers and their supporters and the alumni that were here. The 1984 team, the original team here at Rutgers University, featured at halftime. So a wonderful way to start the season in front of a large crowd and a large group of alumni who I'm sure are very proud.
Yeah, a big group of Rutgers supporters here. We're going to be happy that the Scarlet Knights are 9-0 for the first time ever as Rutgers opens up Big Ten play with a 2-0 win over Ohio State. That'll do it here from Piscataway. For Glenn Crooks and our entire Rutgers Big Ten Plus crew, I'm Dom Savino saying so long. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. The Scarlet Knights are victorious and 9-0 for the first time ever. the reigning Big Ten regular season champs open up a new conference slate with a victory as the Scarlet Knights claim a top 25 battle 2-0 over Ohio State. With Glenn Crooks, I'm Dom Savino. We're joined down on Yersack Field by somebody involved with both goals today, Sarah Brocious, the junior midi. Sarah, take me through the goals. Allison Lowry scored the first and you scored the second.
Well, the first goal, it was a counter, and we always talk about in practice how to strike in 2-3 passes, and it started with a great tackle in our defensive third, and we just went forward with it, and there was a great run, and it was a great finish, and it was just an all-around great team goal.
And then, Sarah, if you look at the second goal, you're running out of the midfield to receive the pass, and it really was well-timed. Great relationship between you and Daigle. But talk to us about that finish.
I mean, yeah, we run that all the time in practice. Once someone starts an inside dribble, you make some runs, and then if you don't get it, you still make it because you open up other passing lanes, and we all know each other so well that it's just clockwork, and I'm honestly really excited how much better we get and how much more we develop that relationship. But right now it's really good and it's really exciting.
Sarah, your Scarlet Knights are 9-0 for the first time in program history. Tell me what that means to you and this team.
I mean, it's great. We set goals in the beginning of the year. It was be undefeated at a conference, and we did that, and we're so proud of ourselves. But we always say it's a new season, it's a new slate. Everyone's 0-0-0. Everyone's undefeated. And we came out knowing what we did last year and what more we could do. And we just have so much faith in ourselves. So we're really proud, and we can't wait to see what we can do.
Sarah, it's really evident that the second half of games oftentimes is a little bit more advanced, a little bit more calculated, more effective, really. What kinds of things did you talk about at halftime today? You had the 1-0 lead, but it was a better second half.
Yeah, I mean, we always joke and say that we always figure things out a little bit more in the second half. But honestly, it's true because we have such good communication as a team. And at halftime, we figure out what we're doing wrong, and we listen to each other, and we're all really open-minded, and we can solve the problem. And I think that's been the biggest thing, is that we all trust each other enough to take each other's advice, and we always fix what we're doing wrong in the second half.
That's a 3-point day on the pitch for Rutgers junior midi Sarah Brocious, and a 2-0 win for Rutgers. Sarah, congrats on the W. Thanks for your time.
Thank you so much, guys.